Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Empowerment Project podcast. Thank you so much for being here. So, today we have a wonderful guest with us, and we're just so excited to introduce her. We have Puja Malhotra. She is just incredible in all ways. So, she's the founder of Roop Creative Agency, which is a boutique branding studio that's based in Ontario, right in our neck of the woods. She's got a background in branding and website design and a passion for helping entrepreneurs bring their vision to life. So Puja launched Roop in 2016 to create intentional, strategic led brands that feel as good that feel good as good as they look. So since then, she's supported hundreds of small businesses across North America, building beautiful, authentic brands, websites, all rooted in clarity and connection. Her signature approach blends brand development, website design, and strategy. And we love this, all with heart and deep understanding of what it means to build something meaningful. And recently, she launched something called Corporate Dropout, which I love this, which is a 3-month mentorship program for creatives that are ready to leave their 9 to 5 and build sustainable, soul aligned businesses of their own. So I want to hear more about that too. Now, as a mom herself, Puja often shares how motherhood has reshaped her definition of success. Her journey has included navigating fertility challenges, embracing feminine flow, and restructuring her business to align with the rhythms of parenting. We can so relate to that without losing momentum, of course. So today, she's not just building brands, she's helping creatives step into their power, scale in ways that are sustainable, joyful, and true to themselves. So you can tell why we are so happy to have Puja with us today. So thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
I think I'm the most excited though,
Yeah.
because Pooja, you know that we met on a very professional level.
hmm
We were introduced to you by a very good friend of mine. Um, she was just raving about you, about your creative element, your professionalism, and Andrea and I were looking to rebrand the Empowerment Project, and that's what sort of brought us to you. And so, what I'm going to say is, I don't think I've ever been so seen and heard. And I know Andrea feels exactly the same
hmm
way when we were branding with you, like down to the colors and to the font, like just you just had this intuitive way of connecting with us and knowing what the brand was supposed to be and what it was going to grow into. Like it wasn't a stationary thing. It was
Yeah.
live. It was like fluid. It wasn't stagnant. So, of course, with everything that you did with the Empowerment Project and our logo, our colors, we absolutely love them. And we get lots of compliments for them, by the way.
Yay.
Like
We do.
tons of people love our design. But then you also help me with my own stuff. Going through COVID and corporate wellness completely dying for me, and me trying to reinvent myself and figuring out what that looked like. Again, you just took the Dr. Charest brand and like you knew it better than me. Like, I don't even know
Oh,
how to tell you. It's like I was lost and you were like, okay, I know how to put you back on the path.
you guys are gonna
So,
make me cry.
no, but truly I was just so impressed with your gift. It really is a gift. And then, of course, we've got to know each other on a personal level. And
Yes.
and actually, you mentioned this in your bio, and I think this is probably one of the first questions I'd love to start with is how you define success both in your business and family life, right? Because again, I know some of the struggles that you've gone through, just because again we've connected on a personal level. But I would love for you to share that because you've evolved, like
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur and also as a mother. So please
Yeah.
tell us more.
I think when I started my journey, especially in entrepreneurship, there was this idea of success that a lot of us have. And the idea is okay, I'm gonna start this branding boutique. It's gonna be online, and then I'm gonna buy a brick and mortar and I'm gonna have a team. And it's going to grow and grow and it'll be national and I'll have clients from all over North America. And it's funny because I do have clients from all over North America, but I work in my office that's in my house, and I have no desire to own a brick and mortar anymore. And for me, success is, yes, there's the bottom line, but it's also the highest form of success for me is having my own time, being in control of my own. And
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate luxury now isn't so much the designer bag, but more so the ability to pick my son up from school every day
Yeah.
and take the rest of the day off. And the ability to have flexibility, that freedom is one of the reasons why I want to start this corporate dropout program, because so many, especially women, have so much to do, and corporations are not made for parenting. They're not made
No,
to support it in any sort of way, shape, or form. And that's why I love working with female founders as well as my clients, because they're, I would say 90% of them are corporate dropouts that want this freedom. And to me, that's the luxury, is the freedom of owning your own time.
that
Yeah.
is so good. I 100% agree. And that what a beautiful definition of success. Because isn't the most precious commodity
Hmm.
that we all have?
Yeah.
And you're so right. Yeah, it's amazing.
Something my mom always said was, you can't take your riches, you can't take any of the material things with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So what, all that's going to stay behind, but what you're going to take with you when you pass is the memories, right? And that's what you're
yeah,
going to leave behind you, is the memories. It's how you make.
And I think
exactly.
it's similar for a lot of people, right? Like the idea of success, you're right, is the bottom line.
Mhm.
People are looking at them, what their bank account looks like and all that stuff. And I think, when it's just you,
Yeah.
that's an easy thing to accomplish and an easy goal to strive for. But you're right, when there's other people involved, when you have a partner, when you have kids,
Mhm.
it changes. I,
Yeah.
I mean, and even speaking from my own experience, I also have always been an entrepreneur. I've never worked with anyone. I always joke around that I would have been fired like multiple times if I ever worked for anybody. But the reason that I started doing what I was doing, like even with the chiropractic business, was because I had the flexibility to
Mhm.
be in a career that I was thoroughly enjoying, but then also have the ability to be a mom, which I think ultimately was my greatest desire,
Yeah.
was to be present for my kids. And so I'm curious also to know, like, what has been your biggest struggle? Like, what's your biggest challenge between balancing your entrepreneurial career and your family life? Because
Mhm.
I mean, I know that you've changed and
Yeah.
your entrepreneurial game is changing and shifting.
Yeah.
And like even with COVID, like did COVID affect any of this?
Yes. I
Mhm.
like to say, so I've been in business for 9 years, and I was a business owner before I became a mom. And the way I ran my business before I became a mom was very different than how I run it now.
Hmm.
And learning that was probably one of the biggest struggles I've ever had, is
Mhm.
learning how to adjust to this new lifestyle that I have, this new little thing that's basically I need to take care of. And my thing was, is I hit, so during the pandemic and during COVID and all the craziness was when I was going through IVF, and when when I got pregnant, and my baby's considered one of the COVID babies, like, and
Wow.
so I was going through all that, and then there was this huge impact from the pandemic on my business, but then another huge impact simultaneously by having a baby once the pandemic started to clear up. And so it did hit hard for me. And financially, I think that was a big struggle, because a lot of us tie finances to success, like I said.
Yeah.
And so understanding that my freedom was in in that time management sort of idea, the luxury of time was really important for me, and getting over that was really important. Now, that's not to say that the bottom line didn't have to increase. Of course it did.
Mhm.
Because I'm all about a sustainable business. I see a lot of people out there talking about, like, make 7 figures this summer, make 8 figures, by the end of the year. And like, we constantly create kind of those marketing and we fall into those rabbit holes of those marketing ploys, but really it's about creating sustainable business. And so
Mhm.
that was what my challenge was and what I needed to get over is understanding that yeah, I've been doing this for 9 years and some years are great, some years are bad, but all years have been sustainable. All years have let me continue to do what I love and I'm passionate about. And so letting go of that fear-based marketing, not falling for it anymore, and
Mhm.
also understanding that what business looks like for me today is very different than what it looked like pre-baby and pre-pandemic. Uh, and the ebb and flows, the more I accept, the more I feel like I am successful in what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think, like you said, so much of the success definition is often shown at how much money are you making? What are
Yeah.
your sales? What are your sales? And it's so easy to get like attached to that. And
Yeah.
when you don't see maybe growth every year, you think, I'm failing at this. Like,
Yeah.
why? Shar, we've been through this too.
Yeah.
We've pretty much been in business about the same amount of time as
Yeah.
you. And it's like, yes, some years are good, some years are like less than the other one, but we're still like that sustainability. I never even thought of it that way. Like
Mm.
the sustainability and just staying in business. And then when you think about it, and Shar and I've talked about this too, and you just mentioned it, that if maybe our bottom line going down a bit meant we had more time with our family to do the school pickups, to make the dinners, then to me, like that evens out,
Yeah.
right? That evens out. And it's not to say that we don't have goals. Like every year,
Mhm.
at the end of the year, we sit down and say, okay, like what are our financial goals? And it's okay to sort of have them and work towards them, but it's not something that we cling to in the sense of like, oh, we're failing if we don't get to that point. I mean, now our kids are older,
Mhm.
we have a little bit more flexibility. Like we've totally been where you are, Pooja. Like because how old's your son? Is he
he's
like 3?
he's 3.5. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you're in like that's Michael was that age when I started the
Yeah.
empowerment project. And I remember I was like, okay, if I can get a half day or a couple of hours in the
Mhm.
morning, or he was it was like it was a win,
Yeah.
right? And but honestly, the ability to have that time with your kid is so important. And I know that because with my daughter, she was born when I worked corporate.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, I got home at 7 o'clock. I
Yeah.
saw her for half an hour.
Oh,
I did her bath and her bed, and that was it. For 3 years,
yeah.
I did that with her.
Yeah.
And the fact that like I had the complete opposite experience with my son because I was now an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
I even see the difference in their personalities and
Yeah.
who they are, have had like me there more than not. And listen, I'm not saying it didn't come with stress, especially
Yeah.
financially, but you kind of make it work. Like you're
Yeah.
just like, if I'm not making enough, I'm not going to spend a lot. Like you
Yeah.
find ways
Exactly.
to make it work.
Yeah. And then I think the thing is like being ambitious women, um, it's about giving yourself grace. And so I
Yeah.
was like that whole idea of failing. All of a sudden, I felt like, okay, yes, I'm failing. I was coming off this quote unquote maternity leave that wasn't really a maternity leave because I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, we don't get
and,
those.
and so I had taken some time off, but I continued to work on client work. And when it wasn't until my business coach pointed out to me, where she was just like, okay, yeah, last year was a bad year. It wasn't the year that you had the baby. It was the year after.
Yeah.
Because what happened the year that I had my baby is I was just focusing on my clients. I wasn't marketing myself. I was just focusing on the bare minimum and making sure my clients were happy with their service. And that was really important. That was my priority. That and the baby. Um, but I had to give myself grace in knowing that the after effects of that might hit me a little bit later. And so it did. It hit me the following year where I was just like, whoa, where did where did all this money go that I was making? Why am I not bringing on new leads? What happened? And so I think it's giving yourself grace and also finding community that can support you
Mm,
hand in hand to give you that grace as well. And so I think as ambitious women, we forget to go easy on ourselves a little bit.
Mhm. And it's easy to get caught up in in that sense of failure. Like,
Mhm.
we're one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on so badly is because, again, as female entrepreneurs, as mothers, um, I think even for us knowing that it's not just us, like I think we're
Yeah.
all going through exactly the same thing, and so getting stuck in those numbers,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it just happened to us recently. We were waiting for a contract. We didn't think it was going to happen, and we had to talk ourselves off a cliff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, we had to
Yeah.
literally.
talk ourselves off
Me
a
more
cliff.
than Char.
Yeah, but once we were able to really come to terms with that's okay, our time is going to be used in other ways because we've been talking also about, figuring out ways to scale the business and to
Yes.
be able to make money while we're sleeping, right? Like I want to be able to, to wake up in the morning and know, oh, we've sold X amount of products or someone bought a course of ours. Like, so we want to be able to do that. But the second that we truly got really comfortable with the fact that it wasn't happening. We were like, okay, this is awesome. This is good. We're so good. We know exactly what we need to do. We get the email that the contract's to go. So, so, so all of that for what? But it is exactly that, is just recognizing that wherever you are, you're good. Like, in my favorite mantra, and I say this every day, all day long, is I have trust and faith that everything is from the creator. It is good and is there to show me how to be better or how to change. So just knowing that if I know everything is coming from a higher source or the universe or whatever you want to call it, God, I just know that it's good for me. Whatever it's trying to teach me, whatever it's trying to show me, however it's trying to stretch me, it's good. And so that's like our opening line every time we have our meeting. Everything's from the creator. It's good, and that's that is what is, I think, has helped us get over some of those big humps. Because again, we've been where you are. So tell me, what are you doing right now to balance work life and home life? Like, do you have strategies? Or do you have mindfulness strategies? Are you working out? Or like, how are you balancing everything? Because we know that motherhood is demanding, owning your own business is demanding. It's a 24-hour day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year job, right? And some of us have supportive partners and others don't. And I'm just curious how you figured it out to work out in your life.
One thing I did was let go of the idea of
Mm,
Okay.
balance.
Smart.
And so I think once I did that, I realized, okay, there are gonna be days, and I believe it was like Shonda Rhimes said this in some speech that she made, and I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't know the words exactly, but there are days where you win in motherhood and there are days where you win in business, and those 2 days aren't the same.
Oh, beautiful.
And once I accepted that, I felt really good about my life. I've also changed I've shifted my mindset to be a little bit more selfish.
yeah.
And I hesitate
Self-love,
saying,
not
yeah,
selfish.
exactly. Oh, I should start saying that. But I think, even with cultural nuances and trying to raise my child who's South Asian and raise him with the culture that I grew up with, but also have this thriving business and also make sure that he's embedded into the Canadian culture as well, because I'm born and raised here. I want him to have the culture as well, but I also have his roots, and it's balancing so much that led me to really understand, okay, I'm going to start doing things my way, because if I'm happy in doing everything, then my son's going to see that and he's going to be happy and excited in doing everything. So
Yeah.
that mindset shift switch of just being a little bit more selfish and making things work for me would externally make things work for my family. Now, aside that, you did mention, supportive partners. I have an incredible village. I live very close to my mom, and my husband's super supportive in a lot of things, and I have this incredible community also that I joined. And so I think that's a piece of advice that I like to give everyone is find a community you can join where there's women who understand what you're going through. So for
Mm,
me, like I initially thought, okay, maybe I should go to like mommy and me classes because they might get what I'm going through. And if I'm being honest and quite frank, they didn't because not all of them were entrepreneurs, right? And so when you're on a mat leave, it's very different than when you are trying to
yeah.
balance a business and balance entering motherhood. And so it wasn't until I found a community of entrepreneurs who are also moms that I really started feeling more accepted, and this whole mind shifts um, idea started to happen within me. But community is a big part of it. Get that village. If you don't have that village, find the community that can be your village.
Yeah, no, that's so important. And I also started to change my language around balance
Yes.
and try to use more of the word harmony. So,
Ooh.
can I find harmony between family and work or health and wealth or whatever that is? And it's and I love that Shonda saying, and I there's another saying that I don't know who said it, but almost like you can have you can be a mom and you can have a career, but often not at the same time. And I'm not like, I know that sounds very like rigid and whatever, but I still understand that in the sense of like some days you're gonna have to be more mom.
Yeah.
Some days you're gonna have to be more entrepreneur or boss mama, boss
Mm.
lady, whatever. But finding that harmony between the two, and it's not going to be perfect, and it's like, don't try to expect it to be. Some days
Yeah.
are going to be a crap show,
Yeah.
and some days are going to be
Giving
great.
yourself grace for all of it, right? And
Exactly.
and anytime I feel like I didn't do enough for my business, I think I ask myself at the end of the day, did I do enough for motherhood?
Yeah.
And that's
Mm.
kind of my reminder is like, okay, no, yeah, I won in motherhood today. Like we played a game, we did a puzzle together, we had a great dinner. Even if it was chaotic, like I won in motherhood today. And so it's okay if I didn't necessarily win in business. And then there are days where I work late and I have to win in business. And I'm just like, wow, I signed this big client. I did this big workshop. I really accomplished something as an ambitious woman. Did I spend as much time with my son that day? No, but that's okay. I won in business that day. And so I think at the end of the day, just going through the list and being like, okay, this is where I won.
And I think the difference, like what you're saying, is the quality versus quantity, right? Like, so
Yes.
if you are spending, 2 hours or 4 hours with your son, or with any of our kids for that matter, it's quality. Like, am I engaged? Am
Yes.
I focused with them? And then it's the same thing with the business. Okay, I'm not going to spend X amount of hours on something. I'm not worried about the quantity of time, but is it quality time? Am I getting things
Exactly.
accomplished? Am I feeling good about what I've been able to produce that day? Which is maybe a memory with your child, or maybe signing
Yeah.
that contract,
Yeah.
like you said, because I feel like that's the other big thing, is that there's so much guilt around, oh, I'm not spending enough time with my kids. But again, it's not time, it's the quality of time that you're spending with them. And I know growing up, and again, I my mom was a registered nurse, and so she was gone most of the time.
Mhm.
So I know when I grew up, I wished I had my mom around a lot more. Like, I missed
Mhm.
her. And
Mhm.
so when I entered motherhood, it was it was a pact that my husband and I made, because his mom was also a registered nurse, and he grew up with his mom not around a lot. So we had that to base some of our decisions on. And it was, I will work full time. Like, my husband said, no, I'm going to work full time. You work part time. And we were in agreement with this. And be the mom that you
Yeah.
wanted to be, and be the mom that I wish I had. And I agreed with him, and that's kind of how we were made it work. And he's also been super supportive of everything that we've done.
Mm.
And our brand has grown very organically. And as I know that yours probably is as well, because of where you are in life. And I think that's the beauty of having a partner and making
Yeah.
your, like, I hate to say this, but some of the decisions that you make, even entrepreneurially, are decisions that you're making with your partner as well,
Hmm.
so you can still be engaged in your family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
husband will always say our business.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like, on the day to day, he does nothing for the business.
yeah.
Yeah.
And anytime he talks about it, it's our business. And we've been in business this long.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's
And I think that mindset is really important for a partner to have when they're married to somebody who is entrepreneurial, is you are in this as just as much as that person, even though you're not doing it. And that's what it sounds like you're saying as well. One thing I
mhm.
wanted to add was I think boundaries are really important too.
Yes.
And for me, like I have a hard cutoff at 2:45 every day, but I am available to clients before then at any time, right?
Yeah.
And what I found really worked well for me is I've actually time blocked my days. And I think that really helps in creating boundaries for motherhood and running my business. Is, Mondays I know are for my CEO days. Those are the days where I create content. Those are the days where I go to write emails. I do all the CEO tasks. But once 2:45 hits, I'm done and I'm going to, decom like, de- um decompress and go into motherhood then. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, client call days. And then I have my Thursdays and Fridays, which are my design days. But because I've like outlined these days, it allows me to create those stronger boundaries and thrive in that manner. And even like, my husband knows my availability for those things. And that's why I think having that partner who's part of your business, even though they're not in the business, maybe like a board of directors sort of
Yeah,
role, is really important.
I agree. That's beautiful. Sure, maybe we need to get on that. We need to.
I was just thinking the same thing. I've this is my baby, my fourth baby, this business. And yeah, I've never really got my husband engaged. And
Yeah.
maybe it's because I kind of feel like Andrew is my husband.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we need to be
And vice
partners within
versa.
each other. See,
Yeah.
Yeah,
if I have an idea, I need to soundboard it with somebody.
for sure.
And that's Andrea and I too. Like, again, because our schedules are not completely different. Um, but we also have hard cutoffs. And
Yeah,
then we also allot time for ourselves to be with our families, and then maybe even do some work after our work
yeah,
day on our own, just so we can get things done. But like I know between 2:30 and 5:30,
yeah,
or yeah, 2:30 and 5, I don't see any patients, or I
yeah,
don't do any work, because that's pickup, that's dinner,
yeah.
that's activities. And yeah, but yeah, I guess Andrea has been my husband. That's why I've never really looked at it in any other
And you
way.
know what? It's funny because now that I'm part of a community, I have a business bestie as well. I like to call her, and I bounce ideas off of her. Is I actually launched a few services, and I had to be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you," to my husband.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wow, that's really cool idea." And so he gets the ins and outs of it, but he really feels like he feels like he's more part of it than I think he is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
so
okay.
cute.
It's good to feel invested in
Yeah.
something, right?
Agreed.
That's really good. Amazing.
Yeah. So, and I don't even think our husbands have. I think maybe our husbands have met once or twice. I
Yeah.
don't know. Not
Yeah,
very.
yeah.
They know of each other, but no, I think it's Andrea, you and I.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
So I
Um,
really like the idea of the boundaries. I think that's a big one for a lot of people, because, like I was saying earlier, being in business is a 24-hour day, 7-day week, 365-day a year job. And I think it's important to set boundaries, and set structure up for yourself,
Yeah.
so you have that focused time, and on whatever it is that you're doing. Like, I love the way that you've actually split up your week.
Mhm. I think that when you don't have the structure and you don't have the boundaries, you get less respect and you provide less value to your client. That's
Yes.
what I feel. Because if
yeah.
you're always available 24/7, um, you're not going to be giving 100%. And I think that's something that I had to learn. That was a struggle I had to get through, especially when I entered motherhood, is understanding that being available all the time was not working for me. I didn't
Mhm.
want to be, again, building on a puzzle while answering emails, and that I know I was there. And I was showing up for my son like that, and I was showing up for my business like that, and I wasn't giving either of them. And
Mhm.
so what I realized is I will attract more of my dream clients. I will bring more of those, like reach those financial goals and reach all of that good stuff if I give 100% and set those boundaries of this is my cutoff.
That's
That's
good.
so good.
Yeah.
That's so important. And
I
do you find most of your clients are mompreneurs, or like, is that just sort of naturally?
I would say most of my clients have always been female founders.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I entered this business, I had no intention of that, but it turned into that. And
Yeah.
it took me a while to accept it too. Because I was like, no, we're here for everyone. But once I realized that I attract female founders and I accepted it and I made that my voice, um, the empowerment behind that and really just the attraction grew 10 times, tenfold over,
Yeah.
right? And now I do find like I have a lot of clients who relate to me because they are definitely moms, they are business owners. But again, it's like it's female founders across the board, and even the few clients that I have that are male are coming in from those female founders that are
Yeah.
referring them to me. So I think accepting that was a big challenge for me as well. And now I like scream it at the top of my lungs is that I work with a lot of women who are in motherhood and also running these incredible businesses.
Good
I
for
think
you.
once you've been in business for a while, you're able to figure out what that niche is. I mean,
Yeah.
at the beginning, I think most of us cast a wide net and kind
Yeah.
of see what we can catch, because I think that even our business went through the same thing where Andrea and I had a corporate a business and then an educational platform, right?
Yeah.
So, and what the day I think we decided to pack it in with corporate, because it just what, even though they say corporations, they've got the most money and this, that, and the other, I think we were so unsatisfied
Yeah.
with the type of response we were getting. Like,
Mhm.
we get paid this, a large sum of money for for people to come in and be engaged in our presentation and whatever, and like three people would show up, and
Yeah.
that was so disheartening. Like, I mean, the money was good, but like
Yeah.
talking to three people when we've had all this stuff that we wanted to share. So there was something really amiss, I think, with the corporate culture.
Yeah.
Whereas it's very different when we go into schools and we talk to guidance counselors, we talk to teachers, we talk to students. I mean, we get emails and testimonials from students,
Oh,
like,
Mhm.
telling us how we've impacted them, or how, it was such a great presentation and what they learned. And so, n- again, they might not have said anything to us while we were engaged in the presentation, but the fact that they're leaving us this great feedback,
yeah.
it means that we're making a difference. And I think once we made the switch, and again, it's not like we're going to say no. If a corporation comes to us and says, hey, or
Yeah.
come and do a presentation for us, we're not going to say no. We're not going to turn it away. But being focused on the educational aspect,
Yeah.
as soon as we decided that, it was a game changer for us too.
I think
Mhm.
it's also they spark energy in you. Like
Yeah.
someone recently asked me what where do you get inspiration from? And my answer is always my client. Like,
Oh,
that's what sparks the energy in me. So when I meet you and I hear your story and I dive deep into that, I that's the spark that's missing for me. And that's the one where I like, this transformation from when a client starts to where they end up. That's the most magical thing for me. And so my corporate life, I was actually doing a lot of what I do for my clients in the corporate world. But I never felt this way about the work that I did. The work I do
mhm.
now, it sparks joy in me. And so I always like to say is the transformation is the win for me. Is seeing that
Yeah.
person walk away with that confidence and knowing who they are as a business and a brand all of a sudden and wanting to show it off, right?
Yeah.
Um I think that's very similar where we're missing that spark sometimes with corporation.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to
Yeah.
know, sorry, Andrew, did you have a question?
No, I mean, I actually was curious to know if you worked in corporate before
Mhm.
and now you're saying you did. So
Yeah.
that's that's interesting to know. And like, what were some of the differences?
Oh,
I mean, obviously, like you said, in just that maybe that client relationship, but like, did you notice any other differences between working for a company and working and creating your own?
I think like for me, so I worked in corporate for 8 years, and when I left, there was no turning back. But
Yeah.
even during corporate, I knew that something was missing. Is I didn't love what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think that the disconnect happens because I don't think corporate culture understands the extent and value of what design can do necessarily in all aspects. There are, and like for me, it was very much like, okay, corporations have like these massive teams, but these small businesses who need really good branding to become memorable and they need it actually more than larger corporations do.
Yeah.
They don't have that. And so
Yeah.
how do I bring that to them? And so it was really kind of that the spark of giving it to the grassroots businesses, the ones that are growing and actually need these services. How do I bring that to those businesses versus these big corporations that, I'm just a number there. I
Mm,
will once I leave, I'm replaced. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to create impact in my lifetime.
yeah. Good for you.
So, my question actually for you was, and I know the process because I've went through it, but
Mm,
I think it's important for our audience to know because I think you do it so magically. Is like, what are some of the first questions that you ask your clients when you start uncovering some of them that ignites that spark in you? Like,
yeah.
I know what you did for me, but I think it's important for people to understand your process because I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful process.
Thank you. It's so I've like again, I've been an entrepreneur for 9 years. The process I've had for 8 years, and I have not changed it even when requested to because
Mhm.
it's there for a reason.
Mhm.
But one of my favorite questions to ask clients is it's the oddball questions that give me more information than you think. And so even just before this call, I had a one-on-one workshop session with one of my branding clients that's new, and she was really interested in knowing why I asked what your brand's vacation was.
Oh.
And so a question as silly as that is something fun, but where you vacation tells me a lot about you. And it during the call with her, she mentioned something like, I love bright colors, but I also want this to be natural and, earth tone, like earthy and very comforting. And it's funny because then I mentioned, I'm like, well, you said your vacation spot's Costa Rica. And
Mhm.
Costa Rica is bright, beautiful colors, but it's also very calming and earthy and living in Canada, you when you think earthy, you think very much the browns, the greens, and the blues, but the rest of the world doesn't see that as earthy necessarily.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I think questions like those oddball questions where I pull more information than you think I'm pulling are my favorite because they sometimes throw the client off a little bit, but allow me to see things that they might not even be seeing in the answer that they're providing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so good. And I know, and I love that, like, you create that self-awareness in
Yeah.
people that helps you to bring out, like, the true essence of what they're
Yeah.
looking for. Because
Yeah.
yeah, like, I even think when we first started, we didn't even really know what we wanted. We just knew what we had was not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was like, we need to, and we like, for anyone who's ever who remembers us from our onset. I mean, maybe we should post our old logo and our new logo. Be like, look
Yeah.
at our transformation, but it is like opposite. And besides the actual name itself, it's opposite.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I remember that process of like you really have to dig deep and go into that introspective uh, work to and it's a like as Shar said, it's a talent and a gift that you have
Thank you.
that I think really sets you apart.
Thank you.
So yeah, don't change it for anything.
I won't. I won't. I don't. And it's funny because like someone asked me like, exactly do you do it? Like, and they want the data driven answer. And I'm like, there's no data driven answer. Some of it's just magic of being
Yeah.
a human that understands and sees the world this way.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I was asked, do you think AI is going to steal your job? And I'm like, no, because there's no way to pull the data from my brain and
Well,
create
yeah.
that. Right. And
And you know
so,
what? It's funny you bring up AI. I was thinking about AI and I was going to
yeah.
ask you a question about that. And do you feel it's hindering or helping
Yeah.
what you're doing?
I think AI is very powerful, and I use AI to help my business for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a very powerful tool, and we have to accept that it's part of what our lives are going to be like. Um, but like, do I think that it's replacing agencies and designs and all sort of form of art and creation that we have? No, not necessarily,
Yeah.
because for me, there have been many altitudes where things have come in, programs have come in. We thought Canva was going to be the end of graphic designer. Not necessarily. I actually get to do the design work that I love doing now because people can DIY the the social media posts, which I did not love designing before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I actually, for me, I look at what AI is doing or what programs like Canva are doing, and I'm like, okay, how can I utilize this to my benefit? And make this really outstandingly beautiful. And so, a great example I gave to a friend of mine recently who was scared of what this meant for agency life was okay. Well, when WordPress used to be the only thing around to make websites. And then all of a sudden you have programs like Squarespace and Wix that come in and everyone can now DIY their websites. And so what I did was I actually made myself an expert in those programs. And yes, you can DIY, but I have a background in design. And so the way that I see a website, I want the eye to flow a certain way, make sure the call to actions are there. That's not something that someone who is, let's say, a fashion stylist is going to think of when they're DIYing. So, yes, there are more DIYers out there and it's easier to start a business, but eventually they will outgrow that.
I
And
agree.
when they want to, that's the entrepreneurs that I'm actually working with, is the ones who have outgrown their DIY or their AI generated or the Canva logo, and now they're looking for something that they want to build and trademark and really make this a real business down the road.
Yeah. It's like when they want to level up and
Exactly.
yeah, and really start to scale and stand out. Because, yeah, you're right. The Canvas, like, and we use it too, mostly
Yeah.
for our social as well. It saves time, but it is generic. And you still need to have an eye
Yeah.
for the layout of it, for yeah, like you said, where the call to actions
Yeah.
are, where the, logo is placed and all that. It's
Yeah.
not just
And I
like,
mean, going
yeah,
back to this website thing that I mentioned, I want to say that like now I actually use platforms like Squarespace and Wix solely. And the reason why is because I can focus on building out a website that's really beautiful for my clients and then empower them to utilize the tools that they need with these CRM platforms, right? Whereas
and then they
WordPress
can
is
edit and
very
stuff.
hard. Yeah, and then they can edit and stuff. And then you know what happens in return? They come back to me for the big stuff.
Yeah.
And so I want people to come back to me for the brand expansion.
Yeah.
So when you're expanding, that's when I want you to come back to me. But if you want to change a photo on your website and you want to change some text on your website, that is something that I want to empower you to do. And so for me, I think even with AI, it's about learning how to use this in a way that it helps my business flourish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And me, I'm allowed to do the work that I love to do now versus the nitty gritty work. So I use Canva too for social media posts, but do I love using Canva? No, I would never make a logo on there, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's great for that fast turnaround that a lot of businesses we need.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's a great way of putting it. And yeah, like it's not going to take over that personal eye and what, like, I actually heard AI defined as artificial intimacy is
Mm.
basically what it is. It's like you're losing that intimate
Mhm.
connection to something, even though they're doing lots of research out there to prove that, you can fall in love with AI.
Yeah.
It's that intimacy is lost. And I mean intimacy in every way. Like what
Yeah.
you create is intimacy between the
Yeah.
design and the like. It's so, yeah. So, and working with it, like it's not going anywhere. It's either
No.
be like, join them or be beaten, right? So
Yeah.
that's a really good approach for your own business too.
Yeah, I think if you learn how to use it as a proper supplement,
Mhm.
not something that's going to take over everything, but a proper supplement, you can do a lot of beautiful things with it.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the idea,
So,
right?
mhm. So this has been such a great conversation. I mean, um, anyone listening who's a female founder or thinking of becoming a female founder, hopefully this has inspired you in some way. And it's beautiful to hear your story. It's beautiful to see how far you've
Yeah.
come.
Thank you.
And it's I'm sure, the growth is still happening and the changes as your son, enters new stages of life. You're really gonna start to see like yourself in different ways and your business in different ways. So we really look forward to watching you go through that and being a part of it in any way. And if you have any final words to share with us, please share any final, insights or, what you know for sure. Um, anything on your mind, or we can we can
Hmm.
stop right here.
Let me see. Final insights. Well, okay, so you mentioned I hope that you hope this inspires any future female founders. So I will say one thing is my sister reminded me of this, and mainly because she plays a big role in this, is leaving corporate was a very hard decision for me because that is something that my parents were very comfortable with and everyone around me seemed very comfortable with. And even though they were entrepreneurs themselves. And my sister said something that was almost a slap in my face in the moment before I took that leap. Was you are the only person standing in your
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I think once you accept that you're willing to do something, you that drive, the ambition, the adrenaline comes. And so if you are on that kind of fence, then I hope this is your reminder that you're the only one standing in your way and just take that leap and take the risk and see what happens.
exactly. Build your community, get
Yes.
help. You're not an island.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful advice.
And Pooja,
Thank you,
how can we
Pooja.
find you?
Yes.
Oh, yes. You can find me. So my website's Roop Creative Agency. That's ROOP, creativeagency.com. And then Instagram is again Roop Creative Agency. But I also recently launched my own personal brand, which is the Puja Malhotra. And so I'm a little bit more unhinged on threads and Instagram with my personal brand. So it's a
Oh, I
little bit
love
more
it.
fun. Yeah.
And that's on Threads?
Threads and Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, and Instagram. Oh, I'm totally gonna
Yeah.
follow. I don't think I'm following that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come join.
I gotta totally get on that. I love
Yeah.
it. Yes, and we'll put all that info as well in the description. So thank you again, Pooja. This has been so wonderful and insightful.
Thank you for having me. I had such a great time.
Yes. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.